Hello viewers, so in this video what I want to look at is these three Atari Lynx. Now what I'm in the process of doing is actually fixing these up, and two of them, the two Lynx Mark IIs, are going to be sold on eBay. This one I'm keeping. So the story behind this one here, which is the old original Atari Lynx Mark I, this is my original machine that I bought way back when, I think, just as the Atari Lynx came out, so I went and bought that. That is working. Needs a little bit of TLC really, but it is completely functional, working, no problems. This one was passed to me. It actually belonged to my brother. He wants to sell it, get a little bit of money back for it, so I've been fixing that one up. And this third one is one that I bought, I think it might have been about 20 years ago. I'm not 100% on when I actually bought this. So I've got these two partly disassembled. I wanted to replace the caps in this one because one of them, or at least one of them, was leaking. So I opted to change out all the electrolytic capacitors. I have actually done that, and I just need to do a little bit of reassembly. And that should be working and ready to go on eBay and sell that. But what we are going to do with this one, because it's in such great condition, is I'm actually going to install a McWill LCD kit to this one, which should make it look and play awesome. And very likely the money from the sale of these will probably go to buy me a McWill screen for my Lynx Mark I. Right, so where do we start? What I need to do is finish off assembling this one. As I said, I've replaced all the caps on it already, so that's ready to go. I do need to solder on a new power connector because the one that was on it, the actual pins had broken off. So that is the last little bit of soldering I need to do on this one. Just solder in that socket and then reassemble it, test it, and then that one's done. And then we'll move on to this one and get that screen installed. This episode of Dexter's Tech Lab has been brought to you with the help of our sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay offer a massive range of services and options for manufacturing your own custom PCBs. Now, with the run up to Christmas, they have a big sale on at the moment with the Christmas Shopping Festival, featuring tons of offers and rewards. We have free Christmas coupons, we have a lucky draw to try, the big year-end sale, and we have the Christmas projects and competition. Go to PCBWay.com and see for yourself. Links will be in the video description. Let's have a quick look at the other one that I bought as refurbished. As I said earlier, I think it might have been about 20 years ago. It was sold to me as refurbished. So it looks very good. There is some signs of wear around the plastic, the case plastic around the button, so it does look like it's had some use. But the buttons themselves look really good. And the screen is in really good condition as well. So I wonder, as part of the refurbishment, they replaced the buttons and the plastic screen just to make it look a bit newer, so and show less signs of wear, given that it was sold as refurbished. So who knows, but yeah, we're going to be putting the McWill screen into this one. So next step is to start modifying the board. Now this is one of the versions that has some shielding on, so that's probably going to have to be removed, and we'll be starting off by removing some of the components around here. This is the Backlight driver board. So this generates high voltage. This will be just to disable the high voltage generation. Probably save you a bit of power as well by disabling that. So there's just a few components to remove from around here. Looking at this, it looks like we're going to be tapping into the connections here, which were the LCD. Unsurprisingly. Remove not needed parts and 5-volt check. So step 1, remove VR trim potentiometer if a VGA connector is needed. I'm not going to be installing that, so that can stay in place. Remove L17 coil, so this one just there. Q13 and Q14, so those would be 13, can't see whether, oh there, that's 14, so it's these two here. 55 and 56 capacitors, that's these two just there, and remove T1 power module. Well, it's actually just a transformer, and I would have thought if you're taking out the transistors that drive it, it's just going to become completely inert. So other than saving a bit of weight, I don't really see the need for that, but I'll take it out anyway, why not? Right, so what I've done just off camera, I've just tested the 5-volt rail. That is looking fine. It's actually 4.8, a little bit low, but I'm sure that will be fine. I think they're more concerned about if it's over a certain voltage rather than slightly under, so that's fine. I removed the shielding, the last bit of that. I've taken off the one on the other side, so I thought I might as well take that off. It'll actually give me a little bit better access to that cap there for when I desolder and recap this. So I've just done that. So what I'm going to do now is just go through and unsolder all of the electrolytics, and we'll go about replacing those. That is all the capacitors out. Yeah, not too hard to do. Got a little pile of them. What I'm going to do, I'll quickly go through these and we'll see how many are actually bad, because I do have a suspicion that there is a lot of capacitors changed when they actually don't really need to be. So I'm going to go through, test all these. Okay, some interesting results. This pile here are totally fine. Absolutely no problem with those at all. These four, I would call them marginal. They're within spec, but they're just on the low side of their capacitance. These ones on the end here, I wouldn't actually even call these bad. They're literally just on the 20% tolerance limit. So they work completely fine as capacitors, but they're just lacking a bit in their total capacity. But they are literally on the line of being totally in spec. So interesting results, really. I do find that the smaller these capacitors are, the longer they seem to last, unless they leak, of course. Obviously, yeah, if something's leaking, then it needs to be swapped out. But I probably didn't need to remove these. They will probably work for many, many years to come. So I've just been through my big grab bag of new capacitors that, you know, because you always end up buying a pack of 10 or a pack of 5 or a pack of 25 and you need less. And you always end up with like a massive, great big supply of lots of different caps. I've been through them and I think I've got everything that I need. I did this on the other Lynx as well. So I think I've got everything that I need. Some of them are a bit bigger than what was in there, but I think it should be all right. There's plenty of room in the Lynx to, if I just fold them over and things like that, it should be fine. So I think we are good to go. Everything's, we've got everything that we need. We just need to solder them in. So let's clear all this away. So there we have the recapped board, including the two that I missed earlier, just there. They are a little bit taller than the original ones because I didn't have exact matches. So some of them, it was like oh, I think it was these ones, which were 47 mic at 6.3, and I only had 47 at 16, so they were a little bit bigger. But I think I've actually just tried it in here, and and there should be enough room for them to go in anyway, so that's fine. Right, so looking at the instructions here, there's several points we're going to have to make between the board, the LCD board, and the actual Lynx. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 data lines, power and ground, and backlight. So what was that, 9, 10, 11, 12? I've just had a rummage around and I've just found an old rainbow ribbon cable, so I think I should be able to just strip all this off and we can use them to run our wires where we need them to go. Right, what I think I'm going to do is actually make the black and the white and the power, which is going to go up there. I'm going to shorten these ones so they can flip underneath to the connections there. I'm a bit surprised when they made this, why didn't they make those solder points there on the top here, where you could actually install this into here and then just solder everything up. It's a bit odd that you have to leave this dangling around while you solder these up and then try and install it. It's yeah, if they'd been on this side, you could have just soldered them all up. So I've just decided to give up on this bit of cable. It just won't tin. I'm not sure what's really up with it. It's, to be honest, it's probably really old, but it is absolute rubbish. So I'm going to have to scrap that and use something else. Right, so with those issues I had with the cable, I decided to call it a day. So it's now the day after. So we're going to get back into this. I've found some different cable instead of that ribbon cable. There's this nice colour-coded cable which we should be able to use. It might actually be a bit better with this stuff anyway. Something over the screen. It does have a protector on anyway, but I was just noticing a few flux splashes fall on the screen, so I thought I'd put something in front of that, even though it does actually have a clear plastic thing you can take off anyway. Give it a little bit of extra protection. So we need to get cracking on where we were, which was making up a cable that will go from the screen to the Atari Lynx. So we're going to carry on where we left off. Right, so that's how it's going to go. I'm just going to cut these wires short now because I think we're pretty much where we're going to need to be. I'll probably just chop them about here. Now I've just noticed on the actual pins of the connector, there's actually not a huge amount of solder on them, so I'm going to add a little bit extra so when we come to solder the wires on, there'll be plenty of solder there for them to attach to. So now thinking about it, just soldering those up, I just wondered, you could probably remove that connector altogether because we're not using it anymore, and that would allow you to put the wires straight through into the holes that remain. kind of tempted to do it. I think on balance, it doesn't actually really gain you much apart from being just that little bit neater, I suppose. So maybe it doesn't really make much difference. So I think I'll just leave the socket in. Obviously, the more soldering and fiddling around you do, the more risk you have of possibly damaging something. So maybe it's better just to leave it in. So I'll just temporarily attach the screen in there just to keep it nice and secure. I can actually use the actual Lynx itself as a jig, just so I can keep everything from moving about while I solder these wires on here. So just reading up about making these connections here, there is a note here about using this with the 104129 board, which is what this one is. You have to use TPR test point 27 only. For using TPR, jumper is closed. For using res, jumper is open. Now, that's fine. Don't have an issue with that. TP27 is just there. But you don't actually really mention in the instructions where the jumper is. It's only mentioned on one drawing, just here, JMP1. I assume that's what it is. But you don't really mention that. So it's a little bit vague. So if somebody wants to make some slightly better instructions, that because this bit here doesn't really make much sense. Right, next to do is power and ground. Now you could pretty, if you know what you're doing, you can probably pick these up from virtually anywhere, but I'll wire them in as per the docks. So that is off this point down here, which was an inductor, and this point up here, which is ground. We have a power and ground connected. The last one, I think, is the backlight, which allows you to use the backlight switch to control some of the functions on the screen. I've been through now, gone through every single connection. It all seems to be absolutely spot on. So I'm going to put this into the case so I can power this up temporarily. And then if it all works good, then we can tidy the wires up and get everything put back how it should be. Here we go. I've got my power supply connected. I'm sort of holding this together because I just need to be able to press the power button. We'll see what happens. I hate the point like this because you just know if you're winning or you're just total failing. That's a good sign. Nothing happened. So let's turn this on. Oh! Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Oh, wow. It looks amazing. Right, let's get this powered off and I can actually assemble this properly. Now, one thing I want to do before the screen goes in is remove this foam gasket from the old screen, because it should help keep out dust from the new one. So I'm just going to carefully peel this off, place it in the little gutter that's in the plastic. Yeah. This is where it gets hard. No, no. Yeah. No. I think this double-sided tape is just slightly too sticky. Right, just need a little bit of hot snot just to make sure that the wires don't move about. I'm just going to use a really nice, just a tiny little bit of this. So just as I was reassembling this, I realised there's not really quite enough clearance between the back of the battery holder and the circuit board just to get the wires down. So what I'm going to do, I think it should fit, because there is a bit of clearance down between the PCB and the back of the battery holder. So I think what I need to do is just warm that hot glue up a little bit and just bend things around a little bit neater so they're not coming out straight like that, they just curl straight round on the edge. So hopefully that will sort that. There we go, that's that sorted out. Really easy. Just warmed the glue up and just bent everything around a little bit more flush. So everything can just go back. So just need to screw the battery holder in. There we go. Oh, it looks absolutely amazing. So hopefully you can see the scan lines option which you have on the backlight button. That's with it on and then that's off. So you should just be able to see there's some nice faint vertical scan lines, which makes it look more like the original LCD, but I think having them off is probably my preference. So I hope you found this video interesting and hopefully useful as well, in case you want to do your own screen mod. If you want to see more like this, then click the subscribe button. There's going to be loads of interesting things coming up. There's a lot of things happening in the lab that'll be happening in the next sort of week, couple of weeks, so that's going to be really cool. Stick around. I'd like to thank my patrons and PCBWay again. Thanks so much for your support. You make all of this possible. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.